had opportunity. They haven't taken advantage of those opportunities, and that's why I think people coming out of the private life who aren't career politicians are exactly what the country is clamoring for now.
So there's blame to go around for both parties.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the swing groups in your district could be the suburban women. They could swing this vote. So let's talk about some of the issues they might be interested in, some social issues.
Sure.
And one of them would be abortion. Being a Republican, where do you stand on the issue of abortion?
Well, I always respect life, and my wife and I have shared this opinion ever since we were old enough to be parents. One thing I do not support is I do not support the federal funding of abortion. I'm not a supporter of late-term abortion. I think I'm with the American people on this. Of course, this is one of those issues that admittedly divide people. But I also think it's important to recognize the position I'm running for. I'm running for the U.S. Congress. That is the fiscal body of the country. That's the body that controls the purse strings. I'm not running for Supreme Court. I'm not running for president, or even Senate for that matter, who nominates, or confirms justices. I'm running for the office that I think is most necessary right now for someone to come in and do good, and that is, let's make sure that those same kids that we value have a future, that they have a future because we are fiscally being responsible. We're looking after their welfare. And in fact, my youngest son, who's was 12 years old when I decided to run, he's now 14, he'd want me to tell you. But when he was 12, we were sitting on the couch and we were watching this program about the national debt. This is about a year and a half ago. And it was a disturbing story. And it went to a commercial, and my 12-year-old, who I didn't think was paying attention, said to me, "Dad, am I going to have to pay for all that?" And I think the moms of this district, as you alluded to, they're with me on this. This is not something we should be leaving to the next generation.
So your hope that they don't look at the abortion issue as a pivotal issue, because what I'm hearing you say is you think in Congress you'll be dealing with fiscal issues and probably won't be presented with the abortion issue. But if you were, you wouldn't be able to vote for a woman's right to choose, it sounds like.
No, it's not. If people really look into what the position is that I'm running for, they would recognize I will have say in funding. But as far as the issue itself, it's decided.
And you would vote for life, to protect life?
Yes, I vote for life.
What about same-sex marriage? Where do you stand on that?
Well, I believe that marriage should be defined between a man and a woman. And yet I also understand that some people don't subscribe to that thinking. And I think reasonable minds should prevail. And I'm a family man. I have 3 sons. My wife and I have been married 24 years. We know how important the family unit is. But if other people, because of choices that they make or because of factors that they would indicate, if they believe that the family unit should be defined differently for them, I respect that.
So you support Oregon's law that allows domestic partnerships?
I've said that I support civil unions, yes.
Let's ask about gun control. Where do you stand there, and are you a member of the NRA?
I'm not a member of the NRA. I find that question, it's a fair question. I've always been a little amused by it because it is a right, the Second Amendment. And so for me, it's a right, and I don't believe it should be taken away. I believe we need to preserve those rights, that and the First Amendment or the Fifth Amendment or whatever you're referring to.
You've been talking about reining in the debt, and one of the big issues that we're going to hear a lot about later this month when Congress reconvenes are the Bush tax cuts. And just to lay the groundwork here, they went into effect in 2001. They're set to expire at the end of this year. The Obama administration says that they want to preserve the middle-class tax cuts, but not the ones for the wealthy. And a lot of Republicans and moderate Democrats want all the tax cuts extended. Where do you fall in that issue?
I have said that we need to extend those tax cuts indefinitely. Whether that's 5 years, 10 years out, I don't know yet. We need to do more study on it. But I will tell you, in the immediate future, we cannot afford to further tax the American people, whether you're talking about people in the higher tax brackets or the lower, because we need those very people, once again, to invest in America, to invest in hiring right now. And if you take away that incentive, and I can tell you, I'm talking to people all over the district who are suggesting to me that if they're going to be taxed to a greater extent starting January 1st, then they have no motivation to perhaps take a risk and hire 10 more people or to expand their products and services. It's the wrong time to be talking about this, and this is another example of a Congress that is not taking action to definitively say this is what it's going to look like in 2011. As a result, business is stagnant today.
Well, the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center says that those tax cuts that we're talking about for the wealthy are the top 1% of Americans making over $500,000, and for the most part, the top 1/10 of 1%. And I want to read you a quote from the economist Krugman, who wrote this in the New York Times about disagreeing with extending all of the Bush tax cuts. And he says, for example, we're told that it's all about helping small business, but only a tiny fraction of small business owners would receive any tax break at all. And how many small business owners do you know making several million a year? Or we're told that it's all about helping the economy recover. But it's hard to think of a less cost-effective way to help the economy than giving money to help people who already have plenty and aren't likely to spend a windfall. That's Paul Krugman from the New York Times. And what I'm wondering is, this is going to cost, according to the Tax Policy Center, $700 billion to the country to extend the upper level tier of the tax cuts. That could bring down the deficit if these were not extended. And you want to rein in the deficit. Why not just do the middle class tax cuts?
I think the first responsible thing to do to rein in the deficit is to stop the spending. And I'm a small business owner. And I, like many people, our business income or rather our individual income is attributed to our business numbers. So it's a pass-through, as they call it. And I won't get into all the weeds on what that means. I'm sure your viewers understand that. But what may appear to be rich on the surface is really just operating a business for someone like me. It would have devastating effects on small businesses. And I will disagree with Mr. Krugman in one respect, and that is small businesses who we need to revitalize this economy. We need the entrepreneurs to start again. And if we make it more difficult for them, then we're going to see an elongated unemployment rate. Right now, we're at 10.6 in Oregon. This is the longest sustained period of high unemployment we've seen. It's in the 12 years that my opponent's been in office, our economy is not getting better. It's getting worse. Our education system's not getting better. It's getting lower downgrades. So obviously the track that we're on right now is not working, but it goes back to Congress needs to stop acting like the credit card Congress of today, stop swiping my kids and your grandkids' credit card, but instead make tough decisions because that's what they're there to do.
Mr. Cornilles, we need to take a break right now. We'll continue our conversation with the Republican candidate in Oregon's 1st Congressional District, Rob Cornilles, and our commentary this week. Is President Obama correct? Is it time to turn the page on the war in Iraq? We'll be back after this short break.